Well, we are talking about the new world in many ways, and new world in cricket could mean more women running the game. A step in the direction has been taken by the ICC by launching its 100% Cricket Future Leaders program. I'm joined by former Australian captain Belinda Clarke, who is a mentor and guide to the program, to talk about it and cricket in the times of COVID. Belinda, welcome to my show. Well, how did the 100% Cricket Future Leaders program, the idea of it, come about?
Well, I think the ICC has been working really hard at making sure that the game is open to females at all levels and in all roles. And I think after the amazing T20 World Cup in Australia in 2020, the idea of going a little bit deeper into that and trying to address the lack of female leaders across the sport in a whole range of different areas was worthwhile to pursue. And that's where the ICC has taken this program, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be involved.
Is this an attempt to make cricket governance gender neutral?
I think what's important to understand is that change takes time, and the purpose of this is essentially to bring more females into the game in all the different types of roles, so that there's good representation, different perspectives, and I think that will provide much better outcomes, not only in the governance section or the people that work in the sport, but also those other areas around digital and broadcast and the areas that support the sport. It's very important to get alternate views, different perspectives, to ensure that the game is open and inclusive.
Belinda, cricket will be played at the Birmingham Games in 2022, and women's cricket will be a part of that. Do you see that as a segue into the Olympic Games?
I think it's certainly a positive step towards that. The Commonwealth Games, it's a great opportunity for the women's game to be showcased in that environment. I'm really looking forward to the tournament getting started in 2022. It's something new for cricket, and I think if it all goes well, then I think the discussion around the Olympics and the inclusion in either future Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, other multi-sport games like the Olympics become a reality for cricket.
There's a perception that women's cricket is not lucrative. How can that change?
I think I think things are trending in the right direction. I think there's value in the women's game. I just think comparing it to the current commercial value of the men's game is not really that helpful. I mean, they've got a fairly big head start, but I think what we're seeing through the world events that we're running, the TV audiences, the digital uptake, the number of girls starting to play cricket, I think all of the trends are in the positive direction. And as people coming into this program, what's absolutely critical is that all those indicators continue in a positive direction. Over time, there will be more and more commercial outcomes within the women's game, and in some countries there's commercial outcomes now, but I think the comparison to the men's game that have started this journey quite some time ago is somewhat misleading.
Belinda, now Women's Big Bash has been a huge hit. What would it really take for India to have a similar success story? We are still unsure if women's IPL will start this year.
I think the major thing is to make a start, and I know we've had some exhibition games for a number of years now, but I think the only way in which to test the market and to start the option moving forward is to actually get the competition moving. And that's exactly what we did in Australia some 5 years ago. We took a punt. We didn't think we were quite ready, but we went anyway, and then we've got something to build upon. And I think that's really critical, that you just can't keep waiting for all of the conditions to be perfect to launch this competition. I think the most important thing is to get it off the ground, get it moving, and then try and improve it year on year in terms of the way it's structured, the number of teams, etc. But it's absolutely critical that there's a start made to create an IPL for women, because I think it'll be a big hit, it'll be a great success, and we've demonstrated that here in Australia, that there is a place in the market for it.
Now, while there's great uncertainty around that, BCCI's billion-dollar league continues in the middle of the pandemic. What is your reaction to the pictures of India that you see now? On one hand, the summer festival goes on the other hand, cities and states gasping for breath.
I think everyone who in the world, and particularly those cricket playing nations, our hearts go out to the people of India coping with this horrible issue that they've got running at the moment. I'm not close enough to it to say whether it's right or wrong that it should be played. I think the critical question for the organisers and the government to answer is how do we make sure that our people are pulled out of this as quickly as possible, and that's a decision for the people that are trying to help the country to come out of it, but also the people that are running the competition. I'm probably too far away to make a judgment, but it's got to be really clear what the primary focus should be, and that is to help the country get out of this pandemic.
Belinda, some Australians have pulled out. Others like Pat Cummins and Brett Lee have made generous donations. Do you think IPL is good for the country and for the people at this hour?
Oh, absolutely. And whenever there's people involved that have got families and everyone's equal in this sort of pandemic. So I feel for the players that are in India that are trying to get home that can't get home. I feel for the people of India who are dealing with this enormous challenge in front of them. So yes, I'm concerned, but I'm most concerned about the Indian public and making sure that as quickly as possible the world helps India remove itself from this situation. That's going to take time, concerted effort, resources, and it's great to see that the world's jumping in and trying to help at the moment.
Belinda, Adam Gilchrist has questioned if IPL and all the razzmatazz is appropriate at this hour when people are dying in thousands. What is your opinion? Should IPL run?
Look, I think it's difficult for people to cast their own judgments on something that's happening so far away. I'm not sure I've got any more to add to where Adam got to. I totally understand his point of view, but the most critical thing is that everything is done that's possibly humanly possible to help India out of this crisis. If that means the IPL can help in that, then it should run. If it means that the IPL is hindering that effort, then it should stop. So I think the critical point here is what needs to happen in order to help the Indian public remove itself from the current challenge that it's in. And like I said, I'm not close enough to see what is the right answer to that, other than I'm very clear on what the prime focus should be.
Belinda, cricket is not in pink of health. Ian Chappell wrote that the game's governance has to be resilient to recover from COVID. Do you think that the governance worldwide is now capable enough to provide that leadership?
Look, I think it is, but again, everyone's in such different situations. New Zealand and Australia are in a very different situation to South Africa, who's in a different situation to India. So I think, yes, we need a very resilient and collaborative administration working through this, but I think we also need to take a step back and acknowledge that not everyone is starting from the same position, and that's going to take a bit of empathy, a bit of understanding as cricket works its way through. What are the next solutions? What are the next iterations of whether it's a schedule, whether it's domestic leagues? What is it? And I think the key learning out of this last 12, 24 months has been, if we work together, we can achieve really good things. And I think that cricket needs to take that message on board, really work hard together in order to pull itself out of the situation it's in and make sure that going forward it is a more resilient game.
Well, that was Belinda Clarke speaking.